All right, everybody, welcome to episode 3 of Kings Row Point A analysis from the Overwatch League Stage 1. Now, this match was interesting, to say the least. A lot more interesting, I think, people are giving it credit for. Spoiler alert, I don't hate what Justice does on this attack. I really don't. Much in the same way that I think Philadelphia had a good setup with their monkey goats on a defense. I think Justice actually has a pretty cool setup, very much an Overwatch League style of a setup when it comes to goats for Point A. That's very methodical. Just is executed pretty poorly. I think they look, just from the top-down view, they look pretty intimidated. Again, this is NYXL. You're a new team that's been completely lambasted by the community as being, one of the weakest, if not the weakest team. I don't know how much confidence you approach this with your first time on stage for some of these players, and you can really see that in their play. But again, macro setup wise, I don't hate it. I actually quite like it. It's a very interesting look. Now, how much different is that if New York stops trying to play mind games? I don't really know. And why do I think they're playing mind games, right? So let's look at how many people are hiding here. So we have one Heidi boy, we have two Heidi boys, 3, 4. Technically, he's hiding. Nobody can see him just yet. They can see the diva. 5 people on NYXL are hiding. 5 people are hiding just to threaten the hint of a monkey goats, right? This, if we're looking through the eyes of the Justice here, Guido's coming back after swapping off of something, didn't catch what it was, doesn't matter really. But if we're viewing the map, viewing the game state through the eyes of Justice, they don't see a Rhine, they don't see a Brig, they don't see a Zarya, and they don't see a Lucio. So there's probably a good chance that somebody's on the high ground here. Is it a monkey on the high ground? Hard to say, but they probably are setting up on high ground. Ah, okay, there's the Lucio. Ah, okay, there's the Zarya. Where's the Rhine, right? Is there a Rhine? Where's the Rhine? And at this point, I think the Rhine shows, okay, they know it's Rhine. And at this point, they've already committed. Does this change with a monkey? I don't think so. I think if it is monkey, you probably can still try to threaten them off high ground because that's kind of what you really want to do anyways. Removing them from high ground and chasing them off high ground removes basically all of their advantage, kind of like to slow setup, surround, and dive. That's kind of what Monkey Goats really wants to do here. Position players here, players here, players here, have your monkey jump in the same way that Philly did it to Atlanta. And if they do kind of rotate, if the attackers do rotate and you're playing monkey defense, you can put your Zarya here. You can put anybody there, really. You can put your Zarya here. You can put your Zen there. You just set up this crossfire and you pinch them in this choke. You just pinch them forehead, right? You rotating there is a bit of a bait if you're controlling high ground. What Washington does with this rotation is they're threatening high ground control. This forces New York to, again, let's hypothetically say New York's playing monkey goats here. If they're playing monkey goats, they set up all on the high ground. They're looking to dive the point once they can test point. But what Washington's doing is they're trying to remove high ground control. Really, really cool. Itchy nose. I wish I wasn't sick. Corey onto the high ground. Love it. Love it a lot. Again, Corey's just getting a ton of chip done, doing a lot of damage. Now Justice has triggered a timer, right? New York has to match them, or they take a tick. Now, what do? They back up into the corner. They're buying time. They're kind of regrouping. They're thinking. They're still getting right clicks. Corey's just right-clicking them over there. Boom. Another one. Boom. Another one. Just chipping in damage. Okay. Washington backs up. Why do they back up? Zarya from the flank. Don't really want that. How do you deal with it? You probably have to match a Zarya. Good on New York for knowing, if one Zarya goes right, your Zarya can go left. There's not a ton of other characters that are really going to be able to deal with Zarya here. You don't want to put your D.Va there because, again, you're just farming Grav for the enemy Zarya. There's not much a D.Va can do. What New York could do on their hand is send Meko up to kind of mess with Corey and try to dislodge him a little bit. Maybe even send the Lucio up to try and dislodge him, but they don't really. I think Washington ends up actually they just get off high ground, which is unfortunate. Why actually do you? Why give up high ground here? This is so good. You just completely give up high ground. You have so much space here. Again, I think this goes back to what I was saying previously about, Washington not looking as confident as they should. What I'd like to see happen here, to be completely honest with you, move your clump up. Create a line of scrimmage. New York is actively moving backwards. Let's back this up for a second. Watch how New York takes too much damage here. They take a little bit too much poke, and they back up. They speed backwards. Ready? Here it comes. And they coil, right? You're coiled up. Once you see that, I think Corey takes here. You take this line. You move your clump here. Maybe even you match them here. Put Corey here. The only thing that threatens Corey there is Zen. But you have self-bubble. You get a lot more charge that way. I don't see a world where, again, it's Jonak. Maybe he does just snipe you. But I think... Okay, let's play with that thought a little bit more. We move our clump here, right? We move our death ball here. We rotate Corey around this position. Now Zenyatta has no angles to kind of shoot him at. And now we're just shelling the low ground. Corey position here. I'm going to put a big old C here. Corey goes around. We're going to put Corey right here. And now he's just shelling. Just right-clicking from the high ground. And what do? What does New York have as an option? Well, they either match you. They match you here and take a fight, which, again, you're setting up a crossfire from the high ground. So Corey's here, he's fighting here, and your main clump fights from here. Do you lose a little bit of your safety on Rhine? Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to bubble your Rhine from the high ground, and you can't body block for him with your self bubble. Are you going to match the enemy Zarya in charge? No, because you probably are going to be completely ignored. But that's kind of a good thing, right? Your damage is going completely unmitigated. You probably end up winning that fight attrition style. And let's say even if it goes down to getting picks, you have such a respawn advantage that you want picks here. Picks are great for you. Maybe even you force out on ult. Granted, there's no ults to force here as of yet, but I think, again, I think Washington have the right idea, just don't execute. And they just completely give up the advantage that they've built. And they just forfeit the high ground. Oh, it's just, I came into this a little bit more prepared. I watched this a few times because it was kind of interesting, and it's kind of disappointing that they just give up high ground there. I think they probably could play a little bit aggressive. So they take a ton of resources here, and they're winning. Like they're up in health pool, I think, when New York pulls the trigger. Let's see. So now New York says, we want to be aggressive. Let's look at the health pools here. We're leading. Justice is leading in Zen charge quite a bit, surprisingly enough. Guido actually is farming. Nene, we have a life lead. Meko, we have a life lead. If you're Justice, I think you take this fight every day of the week and you just roll NYXL. They don't, though. They back up. They play too passive. They're playing reserve because they're intimidated. If any other team in the league sees that, you explode forward and take that fight every day of the week. There's no world where NYXL gets away with that versus any other team. There's no ults to threaten. And if we're not tracking ults, then shame on the Justice for not tracking ults there. I think you absolutely speed through them and you take this point. The fight should be over. That's done. Regardless of high ground control that I think you probably should have, I think you speed through them and absolutely wipe them. Zarya's out here a little bit on her own. Gets a friendly boop from Animo there. And Corey's dead. And like these trances. I mentioned it in the last video. Another example of just a really, really greedy trance. They threw away so much of a lead on trance. Wow. It's actually impressive that Guido actually beat Jonek to first trance. That's actually quite impressive. But again, New York, not looking good. Granted, this is week 1 against a team that you probably could sleep on a little bit, but just not as clean as they have looked so far. I think week 2 and later into week 1, they've definitely refined their play down a lot more. And now you're starting to see Justice kind of crumble here. Very indecisive, don't know what to do, and they kind of just get rolled on here. Rally into nothing. That's never what you really want to do. This is, again, defensive favor. Corey getting picked again, having to force an early barrier. And what happens next? Well, we already know you used trance. Granted, Guido's building it up pretty quickly, to be fair. Like, this kid literally lapped Jonek. But now you don't have a great defensive ultimate into Grav Diva Bomb. We don't have the barrier there, so we're going to have to be pretty clean with our Zarya bubbles, which I don't think is going to happen. Funnily enough. Let's see what happens with Sansam here. So they go for a solo. Is it a reaction from Meko? Let's see. Kind of looks like a reaction, to be fair. Boom. Gets him. Yeah, I don't know in what world you're getting value out of that graph. You know they have double support ults. You really can't fight into it. You're actually going to take a ton of damage. And then Giannis charges. Charges out and then rotates away from his team and dies. And auto chases him for some ungodly reason. It dies. I don't think I have to spell that one out. Just poor rotations. Corey, could you make that one back? Why are we going forward? Watch him kind of dip forward here. Again, I don't think you really want to give up your personal charge here. Giving up personal charge into that fight is such a big extra credit for NYXL. I think you just keep running back with your Lucio into spawn and play it safe. There's no reason to be greedy. Justice had such an interesting rollout. I think they should have just committed to the high ground a little bit more. I hope they explore it in their other matches on Kings Row A. I think they can leverage that a lot more. Coming into the fight, not a lot of resources. Not a lot of resources for Justice, and they're getting chipped out. Rally in, pretty standard. Big boop from Animo, and there's the map. Dems beat a maps. Last fight, Grav comes out. It is what it is. And we go next. Pretty disappointing. Sad to see. Justice had a pretty cool attack. Kind of flubbed it towards the end there, but it is what it is. Jonek, be still my little heart. Coming out with the Hanzo check again. Costs you 0. Has the potential to win you a map. Always do it. PSA. Pretty standard defense here from Justice. Holding statue is the kind of anchor point for this map. You do a lot with it. It's very safe. Nothing too crazy. New York, very similar to Justice's rollout. Taking high ground. I don't know exactly what Lucio's doing here. He's just kind of skating around, not doing too terribly much. They give up the point for free. There's no contests whatsoever. There's only one tick available for you to throw away, and we're playing incredibly passively. And that's the map. Just complete indecision. Complete just like... So again, I can understand being scared on stage. I definitely understand that. I definitely understand, oh, we can't mess up. We only have one fight to lose, right? But giving them so much space for free doesn't really make much sense. Because if you actually can fight them and you actually win, you can actually hold. There's the potential to full hold here. I think GOAT's the GOAT's mirror is very snowbally. If you win one fight, the next fight's probably, definitely in your favor. You win that fight, gonna be a little bit more even the third fight, but still, like, you're starting to burn down time. But playing this passively, like, look at the health lead they have. Like, there's no contest whatsoever. Not to mention, we don't even bother contesting the point, but we're just getting chipped out. Like, this is just... And I'm going to say this word, and it's not like they're raging at people. This is tilt. This is, we don't know what to do. Crazy. We're panicking. We're panicking. Comms are breaking down. Nobody's healing. Everybody's out of position. What's Giannis doing in alley here? Like, nobody knows what's going on. Nobody's behind the Ryan shield because Ryan's booped into Alaska. And we don't have too much time on the point. Tilt, and C9. It's unfortunate because, again, I think they had a pretty cool point A attack, and they should have capped point A, to be completely honest with you. That first attack, let me see if I can go back to it without taking too much. No. Is that it? No. It's first fight. This first big fight win for them was pretty massive. So it's after Corey drops. Yeah, Corey's on low ground now. They back up. This is where I think they could take high ground control here, but they don't. But they take point control, which is nice. So again, we're forcing a fight here. Wouldn't it be awesome if we could have a Zarya back here? Now you're just forcing. You're literally just spamming them out so hard. What does New York want to do here? If your Zarya is on the high ground up here, New York probably wants to rotate through. You get a tick for free. Just from positioning alone, you've gotten a tick, which you set up before. Look at this setup. This is literally one tick free. You leave your Zarya on the high ground. You rotate her slowly. You can't just do it all at once. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. If you rotate her the whole way around, it's going to take too much time. New York's not a dumb team. They speed on you and kill you because your Zarya is literally in Antarctica. You do it in stages. You put her here. Okay. They start to rotate around. Put him here. Slowly move him, inch him across the high ground to create that setup. Don't just jump off the high ground. You just throw... I honestly think that was their plan, if I'm going to be completely honest. And they just completely bailed on it. They take point control. Good. We're forcing a little bit of aggression here. I think it's just out of habit that Animo boops Corey there, but I think he probably should have been punished a little bit harder than just getting booped back into his team. Kind of a misplay from Animo, in my opinion. Corey gets grabbed. Okay, so it's not that fight. Which fight is it? It's when New York goes aggressive and just gets chipped out. Oh, it's right here. Okay. So again, New York goes aggressive. Look at the health lead. They have so much health lead. Go. Fight. Go. You have so much health. And your advantage is gone. And then they push up. They're not capitalizing on these advantages, which again, I think is indicative of them just not being comfortable on stage. They're still kind of learning to play. They are intimidated. Very much kind of a mental thing rather than a mechanics thing. Because again, Washington's players, are they, world beaters? Are they amazing? No, but they're still capable of, identifying these windows and capitalizing on them. I don't think this was the Washington's best look. I do believe this is one of their first games, definitely in week 1, so they've definitely improved since this match. But I think they actually could have taken it to New York a little bit harder than what they did. I think losing this first point and being held so early was not expected, and you can definitely see that in their play, and you can kind of see that play out with their avatar body language almost. But enough rambling from me. I think we've gone on just enough for this match. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.